Happy Friday, boys and girls. We're going to keep reading in James and the Giant Peach. And we are on chapter 23. If you remember the end of chapter 22, the peach lifted up out of the water. Okay, and I showed you guys this picture where the sharks were all underneath, the seagulls were all up here, and they were pulling the peach out of the water. In a flash, everybody was up on top of the peach. "Oh, isn't it beautiful?" they cried. "What a marvelous feeling. Goodbye, sharks. Oh boy, this sure is the way to travel." Miss Spider, who was literally squealing with excitement, grabbed the centipede by the waist, and the two of them started dancing around and around the peach stem together. The earthworm stood up on his tail and did sort of a wiggle of joy all by himself. The old green grasshopper kept hopping higher and higher in the air. The ladybug rushed over and shook James warmly by the hand. The glowworm, who at the best of times was a very shy and silent creature, sat glowing with pleasure near the tunnel entrance. Even the silkworm, looking white and thin and completely exhausted, came creeping out of the tunnel to watch this miraculous ascent. What does ascent mean? Anyone have a guess? So to descend means to go down. So to ascend means to go up. Good. Up and up they went, and soon they were as high as the top of a church steeple above the ocean. "I'm a bit worried about the peach," James said to the others as soon as the dancing and the shouting had stopped. "I wonder how much damage those sharks have done to it underneath. It's quite impossible to tell from up here." "Why don't I go over the side and make an inspection?" Miss Spider said. "It'll be no trouble at all, I assure you." And without waiting for an answer, she quickly produced a length of silk thread and attached it at the end of the peach stem. "I'll be back in a jiffy," she said, and then she walked calmly over the edge of the peach and jumped off, paying out the thread behind her as she fell. The others crowded anxiously around the place where she had gone over. "Wouldn't it be dreadful if that thread broke?" the ladybug said. There was a rather long silence. "Are you all right, Miss Spider?" shouted the old green grasshopper. "Yes, thank you," her voice answered from below. "I'm coming up now." And up she came, climbing foot over foot up the silk thread, and at the same time tucking the thread back cleverly into her body as she climbed past it. "Is it awful? Is the damage awful? Is it all eaten away? Are there great holes everywhere?" Miss Spider clambered back onto the deck with a pleased, but also rather puzzled look on her face. "You won't believe this," she said, "but actually, there's hardly any damage down there at all. The peach is almost untouched. There are just a few tiny pieces out of it here and there, but nothing more." "You must be mistaken," James told her. "Of course she's mistaken," the centipede said. "I promise you I'm not," Miss Spider answered. "But there were hundreds of sharks around us. They churned the water into a froth. We saw their great mouths opening and shutting." "I don't care what you saw," Miss Spider said. "They certainly didn't do any damage to the peach." "Then why did we start sinking?" the centipede asked. "Perhaps we didn't start sinking," the old green grasshopper suggested. "Perhaps we were all so frightened that we simply imagined that we were sinking." This, in point of fact, was closer to the truth than any of them knew. A shark, you see, has an extremely long, sharp nose, and its mouth is set very awkwardly underneath its face and a long way back. This makes it more or less impossible for it to get its teeth into a vast, smooth, curving surface, such as the side of a peach. Even if the creature turns onto its back, it still can't do it because the nose always gets in the way. If you have ever seen a small dog trying to get its teeth into an enormous ball, then you will be able to imagine roughly how it was with the sharks and the peach. It must have been some kind of magic, the ladybug said. The holes must have healed up all by themselves. Oh, look, there's a ship below us, shouted James. Everybody rushed to the side and peered over. None of them had ever seen a ship before. It looks like a big one. It's got 3 funnels. You can even see people out there on the decks. Let's wave to them. Do you think they can see us? Neither James nor any of the others knew it, but the ship that was passing beneath them was actually the Queen Mary sailing out of the English Channel on her way to America. And on the bridge of the Queen Mary, the astonished captain was standing with a group of his officers, all of them gaping at the great round ball hovering overhead. I don't like it, the captain said. Nor do I, said the first officer. Do you think it's following us? Asked the second officer. I tell you, I don't like it, muttered the captain. It could be dangerous, said the first officer. That's it, cried the captain. It's a secret weapon. Holy cats, send a message to the Queen at once. The country must be warned. And give me my telescope. The first officer handed the telescope to the captain. The captain put it up to his eye. There's birds everywhere, he cried. The whole sky is teeming with birds. What in the world are they doing? And wait a second. There are people on it. I can see them moving. There's a do I have this thing focused right? It looks like a little boy in trousers. Yes, I can distinctly see a little boy in short trousers standing up there. And there's a sort of giant ladybug? Now, just a minute, Captain, the first officer said. And a colossal green grasshopper, said the captain. Captain, the first officer said very sharply. Captain, please. And a mammoth spider, said the captain. Oh dear, whispered the second officer. And an enormous, simply enormous centipede, screamed the captain. Call the ship's doctor, the first officer said. Our captain is not well. A moment later, the great round ball disappeared into the cloud, and the people on the ship never saw it again. All right, why do you think the first officer is saying, get the doctor? Our captain is not well. I'm thinking that they're probably saying, there's no way that there's a little boy up there on that big round ball, that there's a giant centipede, a giant grasshopper, a giant spider, and a giant centipede. They're like, there's no way. So they're thinking he's going crazy, right? All right, that is the end of chapter 23. I'll go ahead and show you this picture though. So there is the, this side, the ship that's going by. And then if you look on the very front of the ship here, there's the captain. Let me get that center there. The captain looking up into the sky. Okay. All right, boys and girls. I hope you have a great Friday, and I will talk to you later. Until bye.
Bye.
Say bye. Come this way. Bye, guys.